Hey everybody, welcome to part 3 of Let's Play Final Fantasy. If you remember in the last video I said we wanted to grind up to level 3 for the first dungeon, but since I'm an overachiever, I grinded up to level 4. Not only will this make the next dungeon even easier than it already is, as it's incredibly short, it'll let me head to the next area of the game without stopping to grind again. So that's basically less video I have to cut out later on. As you can see, our fighters crested 100 hit points, and our mages have 4 level 1 charges and 2 level 2 charges. More importantly, I've picked up Harm for the white mage as well, and the black mage has picked up Lightning and Sleet to make the journey a bit easier. I also bought a couple potions and a couple tents. We're going to head on up to that castle we looked at earlier and rescue the princess from the clutches of the evil Garland. Yeah, these random fights on the overworld I'll typically just fast forward through, especially ones that are boring like this. You've already seen them, I don't need to say anything. Now later on, when the enemies actually get interesting, then I'll have a lot more to talk about, but I mean, how exciting is, hey, there's imps here, let's fight some imps. I mean, that just, it never really gets any more exciting than that. And just to reiterate the point, in a situation like this, have everybody target someone different. Your black mage, if you have one, probably isn't going to kill them in imp in a single attack yet. He's pretty much the only character that won't physically kill an imp in a single attack, but gotta do what you gotta do. The red mage would be outputting great physical damage at this point. Actually, he would be only putting out less damage than the fighter right now. But here we are in our first dungeon. Now the paths to the right lead to locked doors that we can't get through quite yet, so there's no reason to head that way. It's just going to get in a fight that'll drain your resources. And right before the first boss, we don't need things that drain our resources. Now, we have wolves and grey wolves here. These are your pretty basic enemies as well. Grey wolves just have considerably more hit points than the regular wolves. And since it's pretty much a physical-only fight, we're just going to speed things up a little bit here. Winners! Alright, now we're going to head through here and pick up our first treasure, a cap, which we are going to give to the fighter. Once again, to reiterate another point, we won't be equipping our black belt with any armor ever, and the white mage and black mage, we're not equipping them for now. They will have some equipment later on when we find some pieces of gear that have a decent absorption radius without lowering their evasion by a significant amount. But for now, the fighter's the only one we're really worried about outfitting with weapons and armor, for now. The miss rate, especially in this part of the game, is pretty darn high, so don't be surprised if you miss with a lot of physical attacks. It's just something that's going to happen. It'll get a lot better once the black belt hits level 10 and you de-equip their weapons. Their accuracy goes up by a good bit, so you'll start noticing you'll miss less. And here we have a heal potion and a cabin. A cabin is basically an upgraded version of the tent. It restores more hit points to the party in the overworld. However, it does not restore any spell charges. That luxury is only for houses. But boy howdy, are the houses well worth it. I might as well show this off since got nothing better to do with a harm spell. Targets all undead in the fight, assuming she gets a turn. Oh, yep, alright, this should do it. And it'll hit all undead in the battle for a pretty modest amount of damage. Actually quite helpful in several areas later on. Especially going to be important when I do my big level grinding in a little while. And before we take on the boss, let's take a look at our HP here. Just use potions here. And we can get away with a... Oops. Okay, now there's something I need to go over. If you accidentally use a cure spell on someone that's at full life, it's still going to burn the cure spell. So be careful. And here's Garland. No one touches my princess. Light warriors, you impertinent fools. I, Garland, will knock you all down. What? Talk about a terrible mistranslation. Instead of having to say, I will kill you, I will knock you all down. That's threatening. Anyway, it's boss time, and that's about it. This guy is pretty much a wuss. Have everyone just attack him normally. Black mage, use whatever. Black mage or white mage, use whatever attack spells you got. Everyone else can just physically attack him. He's only got 212 hit points. Not a whole lot, so... especially after a couple critical hits, this guy's going to go down in the next round of combat. Pretty easy. Key, says the bat. And here we are with Princess Sarah. We have saved the day. Wow, that was an easy game. Alright, what's going on here? Sweet, we get a bridge. Don't know how we're going to take that with us. What's up, Sarah? Oh, she's giving us a loot. That's pretty cool, I guess. It makes music, right? Surely that'll come in handy later. And by later, I mean like 15 hours from now. Actually not that long. I should have the game beaten in 15 hours. Real quick pit stop. We're going to stop at the inn to recharge our batteries. That's right, hold reset while you turn the power off. You know, Nintendo games always said that back in the day, but I never had a problem not doing it. I always just hit the power, and I never experienced any issues. Apparently the reason they said to do that was because hitting the power could cause data corruption, but I had never experienced it. I know some people have. I remember watching H.C. Bailey's LP for either Dragon Warrior 2 or 3, and he went into a story on how his file got corrupted. That'd be terrible, especially in a long RPG like this, or any other Dragon Warrior games. I couldn't imagine. Can you imagine that? Actually, I can imagine that, because that actually happened to me in Final Fantasy VII. I love this opening. I love this music. I love the artwork. It's even better in the newer versions. I love how it's got like the party standing on the hill, looking at the castle behind them after crossing the bridge. It just feels so epic. Anyway, yeah, Final Fantasy VII. I had my first file. I was at the end of the game. It was like 43 hours or something on it, and I turned on the game one day, and the file was corrupt. It was a bad day for everybody. That's terrible. Losing all that time. Of course, I just started over. Now, programmed by Nasir. Now, I'm only going to point this out because I'm sure he's done... I don't know if Nasir is a person or a group. I don't know. But whatever they did, the only other game I'm immediately aware of that they programmed was Secret of Mana for the Super Nintendo. One of my favorite games of all time, but much like this one, had quite a few glitches, bugs, and translation errors. It's just kind of interesting. And no, you can't skip these opening credits. That's why we're still sitting here. Okay, heading across the bridge. We can run into some stronger enemies along this way. We're going to head up north first, around the river. There's absolutely nothing that requires you to go this way, but we are going to run into a couple treasure chests and talk to some awesome brooms, so that's always worth a quick side trip. Again, most of the enemies in the start of the game here, you're basically going to be seeing lots of just physical attacks. The next thing that we're going to run into commonly is poison, and I hate that, and I'll explain that a little bit more as we get there and actually get poisoned. But our destination is just this cave right up here. Oh, that's a lot of skulls. This is the witch Matoya. Huh, apparently she can't see anything without her crystal. And we have a broom here that talks and tells us to sell us beat us up. Very wise advice. And we're going to open these chests for some free potions. Free potions are good, especially when the money's a little tight in these first few levels. And the brooms all say the same thing. They all say to sell us, beat us up. And you'll find this out from a townsperson, but the brooms are talking backwards. So it says push B select. So if we push B and select, that's how we open up the map for the world. Shows all the locations. Those flashing dots are places of interest we'll be visiting. And now we are going to get into a fight with a bunch of wolves. Again, these early battles aren't going to be much more than just spreading out attacks. Spell charges aren't nearly plentiful enough to just keep blowing them. Although on certain enemies, if we run into an ogre, for example, we'll definitely be wanting to have our best spells available. Especially if we run into a group of 4 mad ponies, which is probably one of the tougher groups we can run into right now. Oh yeah, Black Mage bringing it home. Destination is the next town to the east, a port town called Pravoka. Oh, yay, more imps. As I head a little more east, we're gonna be far more likely to start running into some new guys. Most notably ogres and more frequent run-ins with mad ponies. A big group of mad ponies, especially if they get to strike first, can be a pretty major problem because they can cast one of the first status ailments we'll run into, which is confuse. So gotta be careful with that. Or is it stun? I forget now all of a sudden. Basically, as long as you make it to the next town in one piece and save, you are pretty much set for quite a while. After we get to the... not to go too far ahead, but we're going to visit 2 more towns, then go to one of the hardest dungeons in the game relative to our level. And we're going to have to do a good bit of grinding for that, but of course, I got you covered. I'm going to show you some awesome tricks to level up real quick in this area. Now, since we have enough, let's say I call them second-tier enemies, because we have imps and the gray imps, wolves and the gray wolves. They have a good bit of hit points, so feel free to fling a couple of spells if you run into a group like this. Need to keep Tella up. Now, even though my physical attacks are missing quite a bit here, it's worth noting that spells, unless the enemy is just immune to it, spells will always land. Unless they're status ailments. Attack spells will always land. Stop missing! Jeez. That's the main reason I'm fast forwarding these fights. If the accuracy was halfway decent, it wouldn't be necessary. Might as well show off a tent real quick just because I can. We restored everyone a good bit of HP. The only one still hurting is Yang, our black belt. And it also saves our game. So we will just pop him a quick cure spell and continue on. Almost where we need to be. That's the town right there. I didn't get into a fight. I thought for sure I would. Hey, what's going on? Sir, you so aptly described your problem. I know exactly how to help you. What's going on here? Walk in and someone says help. What is that? What? Help with what? Oh, town's been invaded by pirates. Well, that makes a little more sense. Let's head on into the inn and rest up then. Sounds like we're going to have to confront some pirates. And know that the price for the inn jumped from 30 to 50 gold. Hey, you look like a pirate. Aye, I am Bicky the Pirate. He's gonna send his mates after us. Wow, he's got a lot of mates. Even though there's 9 of these guys, it's a pretty straightforward fight. They have very low HP. I mean, they're pretty much imps that just can hit a little bit harder. Assuming they hit you at all. Oh my god, he got me for 1. Maybe you can't hit me that much harder. Otherwise, you can pretty much feel free to treat this as a regular fight. Have your black mage or your red mage throw out some attack spells. Red mage can probably take him down in a single physical hit though, so you can stick to that. For the black mage, since I'm already in town with an inn, I might as well toss around some magic, make things a little bit easier on me. Yeah, go black mage, go. Right, see, that wasn't bad at all. Got a good chunk of gold there. What's up now? Oh, okay. I guess I got a ship. Sweet. Alright, let's go talk to some townsfolk. Ah, apparently they have a princess in trouble, and Matoya's herb's the only thing that'll help them. Never be afraid of pirates. Okay, we're gonna visit the shop, see what's up, go over a shopping list. Okay. The only thing we really want here, basically they're so cheap, go ahead and pick up a wooden shield and gloves for your fighter. Anyone can equip the gloves, so go ahead and pick those up for anyone you need them as well. Again, for my other 3 characters, the marginal absorb rating they're going to gain isn't worth the decrease in evasion percentage. I will be picking up that iron armor in a minute, though, but first, I want to check out the other shops. Anything new in the item shop? You'll notice they have cabins for sale for 250 gold. That's the only new item here. Again, they're basically better versions of the tent. For now, for grinding, sticking to a tent is perfectly fine, since your overall hit points are so low. But once you start gaining a couple levels, and especially once you get to like level 8 and above, you'll definitely be wanting to stick to the cabins. Unless you just need something to save your game. Alright, white magic, level 2. Now here's the disappointing thing. All this stuff is garbage. Lamp cures darkness. That's fine. Darkness is an ailment when your character is blinded. When you're blinded, you don't hit as well. Except, in this game, the darkness status effect is bugged. It doesn't actually do anything. So, in essence, if you pick up Lamp, you're buying a cure for something that doesn't do anything. Moving on. Mute. Very, very limited. It silences enemies so they can't cast spells or use special abilities. Pick it up when you're rich, but certainly don't waste the 400 on it now. Anti-lightning can be useful in some battles. It casts a barrier on the whole party that reduces incoming lightning damage by 50%. Limited again, but pick it up when you can afford it. Invisible basically increases your evasion by a lot. If that fits your playstyle, you like those kind of spells, it's fine. I just don't like wasting spells when I could just be curing someone or killing the enemy outright. That's just me, I guess. See what the black magic shop has to offer us. Now here's where it gets good. We're definitely going to be picking up ice. It's more powerful than fire and lightning. Dark inflicts the darkness status ailment, obviously, but again, that's bugged, so don't pick it up. Temper is supposed to increase your attack and accuracy, but it's bugged. doesn't do anything. Continuing on. Slow reduces your enemy's attack percentage by 50%. Again, it can have its uses, but when you get down to it, would I rather cast something on the enemy to make them slow for a couple turns, or would I rather just cast ice and kill them outright? So for that reason, ice is the choice. And that's all we need for now. And let's visit the old magic shop next. Now here's where it gets good. Obviously we don't need the iron hammer. The scimitar is what you'll be picking up for your thief mainly. But the short sword, we want that for our fighter. Now, the hand axe has a similar attack rate into the short sword, but do not buy it. Basically, even though it has a similar attack, the hand axe has a 5% hit percentage reduction, and that can be very crippling. A little later on, I'll explain that why when I get to the appropriate level. For now, it's not something you need to worry about, but you might as well just get the short sword for now. Okay, then I am going to equip all this awesome goody goodness. I'm going to grind out a little bit more gold to finish my shopping. And then I will meet you back here for part 3 while we head out to... Wait a minute. This is part 3. Part 4. I head up to take my ship down there, and we'll go to Elfland right after I do some grinding to get some money, get some better equipment, and then we will head across the ocean to our next destination. So join me in part 4. Until then, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a good day.